huge welcome to all of you. It's just really great that you all made the effort to come here.
You know, I came here and studied poetry, and when I got back, actually, I started doing my work in a much different way.
There must be a lot of experimentation, innovation in the future of American journalism.
Someone will follow you, you'll get banned. As soon as she hits that button, I get an email in my email box that says Don Garcia is now following your updates on Twitter.
For the 2009 reunion and conference of the John S. Knight and Stanford Professional Journalism Fellows, more than 130 former fellows returned to Stanford with their families for 3.5 perfect weather days that allowed for plenty of exposure to the learned and the laid back.
Well, we actually conceive of it as a mini fellowship. There's content, there's serious things that we talk about, and there's fun. And there's lots of journalism and thinking about you know, how to make journalism better and how to make better journalism. So it really is. It's like a 4-day mini fellowship. And you asked what do fellows expect? They do expect that from it. They expect that mix.
It's a way to create community and have a conversation, a way to promote your own stories.
That mix got a shot of much-needed social media savvy on day one, when online journalism instructors Stacy Baird and Peggy Collins led an afternoon workshop that plunged fellows deep into the intricacies of the hottest names of the Web 2.0 revolution, Facebook and Twitter.
So you cannot go over 140 characters. And then we talked about the hashtag, but that's...
Everyone here, regardless of age, knows that mastery of these digital tools is essential for today's journalist. Tom Davidson recalled how even Web 1.0 changed his life after his fellowship year.
It was the top of the bubble, I think about 15 minutes after I got here and started seeing what was going on in Silicon Valley. Yahoo was going live. Google was literally being invented down the block in the engineering school. I said, the hell with it, and went native. When I got back from my fellowship, Tribune moved me into a role as general manager of a group of their websites in Virginia. Did that and a number of similar roles for 10 years after that. So literally, the left turn that my career took was all because of stuff I learned here.
Think back to how much has changed in the news media in the last 4 years. More will change even faster in the next 4.
Leonard Downey Jr., the former executive editor of the Washington Post, had an urgent appeal to journalists on the first full day of the conference, calling on them to discover and embrace the new capabilities that technology has brought to the media business.
We should not leave change to new media ideologues who are hostile to professional news reporting. But we must be open to new ways to do that reporting and to share it with an increasingly involved audience.
But what does embracing change really mean? To help answer that question, Knight Fellowship's Deputy Director Don Garcia assembled a panel that featured several guests who have made the transition from old media newsroom to new media entrepreneur.
You don't have to come up with a perfect business plan, the perfect concept, the perfect website to begin with. Just start.
The key thing that I found for myself was that if you have a specialty and it's something that a lot of people or even a small group of people are interested in, you can actually market that. And that's basically what I did.
Jerry Capisi used to write about organized crime for New York newspapers The Sun and the Daily News. After his fellowship year, he created the website ganglandnews.com, which has become that rare example of a news site that makes money selling subscriptions.
So I was making twice as much money selling my web page, selling my story each week than I was working for the New York Sun.
I think there's an untapped ability to bring in revenue from individuals, whether through subscriptions or fund drives like public radio uses. So I think that's where we're headed right now, because the old model, clearly profit-driven model that, you know, is broken.
If there was no Nathaniel Green, there would be no United States of America. And there are two people about whom you could say that, George Washington, and the other one is Nathaniel Greene.
Friday afternoon, there was a 3-hour book reading in the Mendenhall Library, where Knight Fellows were given a precious few minutes to share excerpts from their published works. It was a standing room-only success, and a technology-free oasis for web-weary writers and the people who love them.
I feel like I was completely inequipped to write a novel, but I did it anyway. And the Knight Fellowship gives you a sense of, it gives you a sense of being able, challenged, willing, proud, crazy,
Proving that the best social networks still require no internet connection, the reuniting fellows met and mingled, gabbed and gobbled their way through 3 on-campus dinner parties held at the Old Union, the Cantor Art Center, and the Arriaga Alumni Center, where journalists from the most senior,
I'll be 90 in September, good for you,
and the very most junior ranks had to test their stamina by running the gauntlet of nightly hosted cocktail hours.
It's great. It's a good opportunity to meet friends, to learn new things, and to see Stanford. That is beautiful.
If you will, the change that we saw was a change that somehow we were leaving our past behind, and now we were coming to a new sense of forward progress. And a new sense.
Second-day sessions veered away from inside baseball talk of journalism with a capital J toward topics of more general interest.
And therefore, one thing I'll be pointing out is that, at least based on this talk, that in general, women make better decisions.
There was a lively lecture on something that Stanford professor Baba Shiv calls Frinky science, which combines the words freaky and funky and describes how emotions overrule even our best efforts to make purely rational decisions, and why generally that's a good thing.
And that is, it allows people to decide, to commit, to feel convinced that what they have chosen is the right one. And therefore you can do that only if you're bringing emotion into the play.
With their parents cooped up inside the lecture hall, children of the fellows made the most of the mild summer weather. And after 2 days of rather heady fare, the grown-ups were ready for outdoor fun at either of 2 sports clinics held Saturday afternoon at the golf course and the nearby West Campus tennis courts.
Thank you all for coming to this reunion.
All in all, the 7th reunion and conference of the Knight Fellowships for Journalists delivered what a good reunion should. An opportunity for friends who have grown close around shared experiences and interests to get together, to celebrate each other's success, to venerate the venerable.
I may cry.
And most of all, to reminisce about a year that meant so much.
The actual couple of days of the fellowship are an enormous, getting together, reacquainting with people you knew from the year that you were in, and actually meeting people through the programs from other years, which is always the issue, to meet people from different years. And the programs themselves are like hors d'oeuvres for the conversations that have to happen afterwards. So it's really wonderful it's really special. I feel very lucky to be part of this group.
These days there's a lot of gloom and doom and bad news about newspapers, but I've been actually very uplifted by some of the lectures and panels that we've had here, which talk about taking risks and continuing to do what we do and finding new ways to do it. So I found this very uplifting at a time that has been trying for all of us.
The other journalists that you meet while you're here is a great part of the program, and people always regard it as a major year in their life and in their career, I think.
And getting to meet them and know them and their families, you couldn't ask for a better world. It was great.
Also, just to walk through the campus, I walked through the campus today, and I looked at the quad, and I looked at the Hoover Tower, and looked at the library, and thought to myself, I've worked in about 100 and some countries, but this is one of the nicest places in the whole world, looking down at this quad. So some of it is just to come back and kind of savor one of the best places in the whole world. know, this is like coming home. This was really the best year that I ever spent anywhere as a journalist.